We're in this pot and nothing can penetrate us. No matter how hot it gets, we are going to come out victorious. And he's saying, if you guys are not even listening to me, I'm going to have to do something unthinkable so you know that the sovereign Lord is talking to you. Hi friends, it's Elaine here. We're back with another episode of Turn Christian Podcast. And if you are new here, hi, I am a brand new Christian and I'm going to go over life lessons and spread the good news, which is the gospel. Today we're going over the book of Ezekiel in the Bible. This one is my personal favorite. I say this all the time, but I mean it. I love this book because it really shows what it's like to have God not in your life or have God in your life. You take him for granted, you forsake him, and he fully pulls back. This book really highlights God as a person. Yes, we know him as an entity, but it goes through all of his emotions and it shows how much of a person he is to us, how much of a father he is to his children. In this book, he showcases mercy and grace, wrath and divine jealousy. You see it all with him. And it really makes him look more human than what we give him credit for. Yes, he's an entity and he's fully powerful, but he's also a person with multiple emotions. And we go through each emotion with him in this book. That's why I love it so much. And if you like what you see, please like, share, and comment. And let's get into this. You're going to get the most powerful message in 2 parts. So let's go over part 1. So to give you a backstory on Ezekiel, God's nation is fully encaptured by the Babylonians. And at the time, the Babylonian culture fully rejected the idea that there's one God. So they were serving and worshiping multiple gods at once. And since the Israelites are under their captivity, they were also doing the same. And if you know the 10 commandments like I do, rule number 1, which is a law, you should not worship any other gods but me. So if they're worshiping other gods, ooh, you can only imagine how God feels. And if you remember a few episodes back, God put in a full covenant with Abraham to make the Israelites his designated nation. They were going to be so prosperous. They were winning wars. They were the nation to be feared. So what happened? How are they captured? Why are they worshiping other gods if there is a full covenant involved with the sovereign Lord? Now, this is what we're going to get into. There is a priest named Ezekiel, and he's also captured. And something marvelous happens. And when I tell you, this is like my favorite part of the book, because it shows God in his full glory, but also shows the 4 mysterious, majestic creatures that are appointed by God. And if you see these creatures, you're either dead in heaven, rest in peace, or you are a prophet and God is trying to reveal himself to you. Let's get into these creatures because they're absolutely marvelous, so unique. So I'm going to read a section in the Bible. It's Ezekiel chapter 1, verses 4 through 7. And I'm going to put it up on screen and it's going to describe the vision that he sees with the cherubims. I looked and I saw a windstorm coming out of the north and an immense cloud with flashing lightning and surrounded by brilliant light. The center of the fire looked like glowing metal, and in the fire was what looked like 4 living creatures. In appearance, their form was a human, but each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. Their legs were straight, and their feet were like those of a calf and gleamed like burnished bronze. Can you imagine how beautiful that is? 4 creatures into one. Okay, so this is going to be verses 10 through 12, and it's going to go into further detail. Their faces looked like this. Each of the four had the face of a human being. On the right side had a face of a lion. On the left was a face of an ox, and also had a face of an eagle. Such there were faces. They each had 2 wings spreading upwards, each wing touching the creature on the other side, and each had 2 wings covering its body, which is like amazing. Amazing. These are a cherubim, which I had to look this up. When I first became a Christian, I wanted to look at biblically accurate angels. And it's not like what you think, right? There are angels that kind of look like what we're used to, but these creatures are so mysterious because these are God's appointed creatures. You do not see them ever. So moving on, Ezekiel sees these creatures in their glory, and he looks up, and there is a man there on a throne. And if you know anything like I do, you know that is the Alpha Omega, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be their name, the sovereign Lord, God in his glory, in his throne, and he's like, stand up to your feet. Like Ezekiel falls to his feet because he knows glory. The Lord is in front of him. Like, this is majesty, right? And he's like, stand up to your feet. I have to talk to you. Now, what does God have to say to Ezekiel where he had to expose himself and his creatures? Well, the people of Israel, his appointed nation, has fully forsaked God to the point they were doing the unthinkable. They broke every single commandment, stopped worshiping him, and just fully turned their back on God and fully adopted the other cultures that he said it was a no-no. It was so bad. He tells Ezekiel in the first meeting, he goes, I need you to talk to the people of Israel. They are a rebellious house, so they're not going to listen to you because they don't listen to me. Can you understand how big that is for God to say, hey, I need you to give these people a message that we're supposed to be my people, but they won't listen to me at all. So they're definitely not going to listen to you either. So God gives Ezekiel a scroll and he's like, eat this scroll. And he eats it and it tastes like honey. And that is a pivotal moment where Ezekiel takes in the role for a prophet. And if you don't know what a prophet is basically someone that is appointed by God, like God specifically chose this person to be their mouthpiece for the nation. So Israel was not listening to anybody. And if you know how it is to be a parent, I don't, but I have friends. If your kid is so rebellious, you tried everything, right? And they're not even listening to you, but they're acting out. What do? You call in a third party. But for God, that third party is a prophet. There was no super nanny back then. You see a part of God that you don't normally see, and that is jealousy. And what do I mean by jealousy? I'm not saying jealous as in don't talk to that person, don't look that way, like only me, right? God's jealousy is so divine that it shows that he only wants to be worshiped and praised because he's the only one that will save you. Like he created all this for you. And so all I do is ask for you not to worship any gods because they didn't provide that for you. I did. And he is extremely hurt about what is going on here, where you just see, you can, like, as you read, you could see how upset he is. He's saying, like, they have an altar, and he shows Ezekiel the altar that's supposed to be for him. And he's like, do you see this abomination here? What's going on? And they bring idols in his altar, and they worship idols on the opposite side. So as they're worshiping their idols, which is their version of their God, their version of divineness, right? Their backs are faced towards God. And that's supposed to be where you're supposed to be really worshiping him And he's just like, I am so hurt. This is such an abomination. You see them worshiping these idols in my house. But you see how they're disrespecting me. God has brought them through slavery and truly worked with them for hundreds of years. Like, he went through the whole thing with Moses. He promised Abraham that he was going to make them a prosperous nation. And he kept that promise even after his legacy. But do you know how much forgiveness you have to have for him to be like, I'm done? I've tried. I am done. He was fully done with Israel. Like, he fully pulled back on his covenant. He's telling Ezekiel, he's like, I could have wiped them out when I saw them disrespecting me in the wilderness. But I had mercy and grace because my name is holy and I want to hold up my end of the bargain. I remember the covenant I had with Abraham, and he's very loyal. So if you do him right, he's loyal to you and he will make sure you live a prosperous life. That's what he promised. He promised that. So he gave them a chance. And then they just keep disrespecting him with worshiping idols. And then it gets to the point where he's talking to the children because the adults are a lost cause. So he's like, hey, children, do not act like this. Listen to me. I will get you in a better place. And what does the children do? The exact opposite. They start acting just like their parents. And so he's telling Ezekiel, I could have wiped out the children, but I had mercy and grace. And because my name is holy and I kept up my end of the bargain, I'm going to give them another chance. Why are they acting like this? Like, what exactly are they doing that's making God so angry? Now, disrespecting him in his house is one thing. Worshipping other idols is another thing. But their arrogance is like the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm going to be reading Ezekiel chapter 11, verses 2 through 4. He says to Lord, to Ezekiel, Son of man, these are the men who are plotting evil and giving wicked advice in this city. They said, haven't our houses already been rebuilt? This city is the pot and we are the meat in it. And what does he mean by this is the pot and we're the meat in it? Basically saying the pot is protection and that's God's will. We're going to be prosperous again. Yeah, we're low. We're in this pot and nothing can penetrate us. No matter how hot it gets, we are going to come out victorious. And he's saying, if you guys are not even listening to me, I'm going to have to do something unthinkable so you know that the sovereign Lord is talking to you. So at the time, not only were they worshiping other gods, they were worshiping idols. They were going to false prophets that were lying to the people saying they had a relationship with God and using their own ideas to give to these people saying like, hey, it's okay to live like this. I'm with God. We're cool. Listen to me. And God sees this and he condemns false prophets. He's like, these people are lying. They have no relationship with me, but yet they're eating up their advice like candy and not even listening to their real Lord. Then they're going to witches, getting these answers, and it gets to the point where God is like, I'm condemning the witches, the prophets, like I am done. And I have to say, I fully relate to what they're doing because they're so in the dumps that you finally are just like, what can I do to get my life better? They go worship other gods thinking, okay, they're going to grant me something. That doesn't work. Then they go to worship idols. They're like, oh, this person, this idol, this golden calf is going to help me. Or false prophets are going to give me the answer. Or if that's not good, witches. Before I turned Christian, I was doing the exact same thing. I was like not going to God, but my life was getting worse. I was going to these like tarot card readers. Then I was trying to do like a meditation circle, which was like a seance. And my ignorant self, I had no idea I was going to do witchcraft in this small town in Casadega. And I was getting the worst advice. I was bringing in the worst energy. My life was getting extremely bad. And I'm like, okay, so that didn't work. What else can I do? And I started getting into astrology. Then I started worshiping celebrities, thinking they're going to give me the salvation I'm looking for. And God is like, I'm not blessing her. I'm still going to church Sundays and I'm still praying to God for a miracle. And he's like, new phone, who this? Like, I'm not answering your call. Like, didn't it? Like, disconnected. Try again. Do better next time. And I'll see if I can answer it. And I was calling him religiously, like, please, every Sunday, please make my life better. But hey, this tarot card reader, please make my life better. But let me collect these rocks. Just like God's like, absolutely not. You're doing witchcraft. Absolutely not. You're sinning. Absolutely not. I'm not going to throw you a bone, but you know I'm real. Whenever you're ready, I'm here for you, but you have to live a righteous life. And that's exactly what they weren't doing, was whatever he told them to do, how to worship him, how to live their life. They were doing the exact opposite. They were getting sexually deviant and they were violent. And they just did not care about him and what he did for them as a nation. And God is like, I am the reason why you're here and you're living. But if you're not going to worship me, I'm going to fully pull back and show you what life is like without me. And boy, do they find out. Count your days because the end is near. So now the time has come and Ezekiel is going to deliver a very important message. What's going to happen next?